I'm here with David Richmond-Peck. He is Georgie on V, amongst many other roles. You may have seen him on other shows such as Fringe in the past as well. Thank you for joining me. First off, just wanted to see if there's anything you can tease for us. What's in store for Georgie when V returns this week?
I have a lot of secrets. Starting, no. I'll get in trouble. I think the one thing you can say is that obviously we had a hiatus, and they've done a lot of writing during that time.
Okay.
I know Scott Rosenbaum really wanted to make sure that when the episodes come back, he uses that. He wanted to say that wow. In every episode, I like to call it what the ... just happened, and he's really done that. So that's kind of interesting. I feel that the pace is really nice too. They've got a good pace to it now, and it's darker.
Okay.
You know, I think maybe it was always going that way, but it's really. They can do a lot with it, right? Especially at the time slot after Lost.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be as you got a little bit more freedom that way.
Okay.
The writing's awesome. So and there's some really good episodes. So in that way, they're not spoilers. I'm not going to give anything away to you, but like there's definitely a real consistency across the episodes.
They did 4 episodes and then they went on hiatus.
You're very, very active when it comes to Twitter and stuff like that. And just, I mean, I know you have been acting for a while. How do you think, like, acting, especially in TV, has kind of changed since, like, the dawn of Twitter and, you know, being able to, you know, interact a little more with the fans and the people that are, you know, watching and enjoying your work?
Yeah. Well, I think acting in general has changed, but that's a whole other conversation. Over the last 10 years, I think the bar has really been raised.
Okay.
I think that you're going to find with multimedia, especially, that you know, viewers are presented with a lot more options these days of how they can watch their television, whether it's, you know, on their television or they're PVR'd it or they're streaming it on Xbox or whatever they're doing. That it's becoming more of an interactive experience.
Okay.
You know, so fans being able to communicate with actors on the show, or people being able to role play. You know, there's a lot of people role playing on V now.
Yeah.
Online role playing, which is like even like different. Like we're not sitting in a room, or people aren't sitting. I'm not doing it, but people aren't sitting in a room. They're across the country. Obviously, there's more access available, and you know, I kind of think it's important. You know, it's nice. I think it's nice for people to know when they watch something that, you know, someone might not always get back to them, but it's nice to know that maybe there's a real person behind the character, and that they have an opportunity. A, they have an opportunity, and B, we have an opportunity to be able to say, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you find you go on, say, after an episode to see what the fan reactions are to things, or is that just...
No, it's usually the next day. I mean, I'll check daily anyway, right? I'll check daily.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many sites writing about the show that it'd be impossible for us to keep up on them, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully they're writing good things.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's funny, we've had a lot of people come by today and just say that, you know, they were really nervous before it started, because they were such fans of the original.
Okay.
And everyone who's come up and for autographs and stuff today, they love it.
That's great.
So,
the whole sci-fi genre kind of allows perhaps subject matter in regular dramas that you may not be able to approach, and, you know, they can kind of get around it. Like, what do you think about the kind of like the social commentary of the timing of it, along with stuff that's happening? I know you're a Canadian originally. And,
I see what you're saying.
You know, the whole. I know a lot of people.
The medical,
like,
and the Obama,
like healthcare and all that. Like, what are your thoughts on, you know, the whole social commentary of the sci-fi genre, in particular V?
Well, I have two things. One, I think that people talk about what's most on their minds, right? Obviously, and whether it's politically or socially.
Yeah.
And if a show is getting people to all of a sudden start talking about whatever's on their minds, and in this case it happened to be healthcare and a couple things like that, for me it's probably the sign of a really good show because it's sparking conversation. I mean, it's always better for someone. I would personally rather have someone watch a show and go have a debate about it than to not say anything at all. I think those episodes were well written before any of that happened.
Okay.
So by no way did Scott Peters want to make a commentary on what was going on around him. That's specific to that situation. So I know there was a lot of stuff on the internet about that. I can't speak for him, obviously, but I'm fairly certain that wasn't the case.
It was just coincidence.
It's just coincidence, right?
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that being said, it's always more fun to see people talk than not to, right? Which is a good sign for the show. So,
in terms of this whole world, the world of conventions and interacting with the fans in person, is this new to you? And what are your thoughts on it?
You know what? I've been asked a lot of times to come, and I've always been too busy. And then this time it was, it's in Toronto. Yeah. My family's here, or half my family, or the majority of my family, I should say. So it was a nice way to get up here and visit. Yeah. But it's been awesome.
That's great.
Like, it's been awesome. And it was funny. Like, there's been maybe 5 people today, just coming up and saying, "Hey, I talked to you on Twitter." And so again,
exactly.
Same thing as you. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's amazing." And that's kind of really cool too, because there's people that you've been, when you can, like typing messages back and forth and saying, "Hey, thanks," and blah blah blah, and all of a sudden they're sitting in front of you. So that's it just puts a face to the name. And, it's been awesome. There's tons of costumes and some really interesting people and some really big supporters. So it's been nice.
Cool. So any final messages before we wrap up?
I hope you enjoy. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thank you.